When I was a kid, I didn't like going to bed because I wasn't done being curious for the day. I felt it was unfair that I had to go to sleep when there was still more exploring to be done. I grew up in small towns in regional Victoria, and I was a giant nerd. The schools available there didn't teach chemistry or physics, the classes I was most interested in. So, among other reasons, we moved. I finished high school in Ballarat, and then I went out into the world for a few years before I decided what I wanted to study. I never wanted to go to uni as a may as well. I chose environmental engineering, and when I chose RMIT, I chose it deliberately. From the very first semester, you're studying engineering with hands-on practice, not just sciences and theory for 3 years. That mattered to me. I moved to Melbourne in 2020. I moved in February, and we went into lockdown in March. But I actually quite liked lockdown. I had a small garden and time to think and create. I also worked. A lot. In fact, for the first 2 years of my degree, I worked full-time. In my first year, I was working 60-hour weeks. I worked hard for my grades, and honestly, at times I wasn't entirely sure why. I could have gotten lower grades, made it easier on myself, and been less stressed. But I guess I don't do things by halves. I never really have. When I was awarded the George Alexander Foundation Scholarship, something shifted. And it wasn't just the financial relief, though that was very real. There was also something else, something I didn't expect. A scholarship is not just monetary assistance. It's a form of external validation. It's the idea that somebody who doesn't even know you believes in your studies. They believe in you. It was surprising to me, but it meant more than I can easily say. What it gave me practically was focus and time. The scholarship helped me cover a semester of exchange in Spain. Between savings and the scholarship, I didn't have to work while I was there, which meant I could actually be there, immerse. I learned Spanish, not a little, but fluently, because I was able to spend time with people rather than working. I came back to Melbourne and saw the city differently. I love that happens when you travel. You become a tourist in your own life. I made the Vice Chancellor's list when I graduated, and I was able to continue into a PhD for a project of my own creation. That's largely due to my grades. Grades that were only possible because the scholarship meant I wasn't stretched so thin that something had to give. My PhD topic was actually the result of an injury. I obliterated my elbow bouldering indoors. Remember, I don't do things by halves. So I did it properly. I had almost a year off climbing, and at the time, I had a rope to retire. I looked for a recycling process and I couldn't find one. There was no real recycling process for rock climbing ropes in Australia. Rock climbing ropes are what's called kern mantle. They have a woven outer sheath and an internal core, which can be separated. The sheath is usually pretty and can be flattened and sewn. This became my side hustle and a passion project. I make belts, bags, chalk bags, leashes, backpacks, anything I can come up with. But the core was still a waste, and I kept thinking about that. It really bothered me. The core is made primarily from nylon 6, a very durable plastic. It's both strong and flexible. And the end of the rope's safety life is not necessarily the end of the material life. So I investigated this as my honours project, and my PhD is now looking at how we recycle that material, how we turn something destined for landfill into something with value. I wouldn't have done this PhD if I didn't do the sport, and I would not have had as much capacity for the sport without the support from the scholarship. Whether through my research, through the people I meet along the way, or through solving some problem that needs solving, I want to leave the world as a whole at least slightly better than I found it.